I'm Ann Adams, and I'm an Associate Dean of Students and the Director of Career Development. And
I'm Alyssa Nastasi. I am the Assistant Director and Internship Coordinator here in the St. Martin's Career Center. And we were just going to take a few minutes to talk with you all about how to search for a summer internship during these oh so strange times. So I first wanted to touch on the fact that we are well aware that a lot of summer internships are being canceled or postponed right now, given our current circumstances related to COVID-19. But we are also aware that there are still a lot of organizations out there recruiting actively for summer interns. And we wanted to talk with you a little bit about some of the best practices for finding those internships or getting one created with just somebody you might be connected with.
the number one best way to find an internship, no matter what the economic climate is through your connections. And a lot of us think, oh, I don't have any connections. I'm a student. I'm new to the area. I'm not from here. It's okay. You are a student at St. Martin's. Therefore, you already have a huge network of alumni. That's the first place I'd go. The next best place is all of those employers that come to our career fairs for years and years. And we have many great friends, and I know a lot of you probably did go to the career fair, and we had to cancel 2 of them, but we try to make up for that. We keep the programs with the name, title, email, phone number of all the recruiters that were here. And remember, they took a whole day to come over and meet with St. Martin's students. They would welcome hearing from you. Now, we don't necessarily ask somebody directly for an internship if it isn't posted. Kind of puts them on the spot. So we're going to talk a little bit about our connections and where we can find those, but also we're going to give you some very practical tips on how to go about doing this. Information interviews, if you haven't done them before, and I never did one when I was in college either. I didn't understand what it was, what I was supposed to say, or who I was supposed to call. Anyway, I try to make it really easy for you so you won't make the same mistakes that I did, and just not taking advantage of opportunities. But do know that St. Martin's does enjoy a very, very strong reputation in the community. The folks that we would connect you with, they will be a positive interaction already, because so many of them have hired so many of our students anyway.
Through LinkedIn, I think we've shown quite a few students this just during our time, during all of our meetings that we've been having, that you can go in and actually find all of our alums that are on LinkedIn. So it's really easy. You just go up into the search and you start typing in St. Martin's University.
And look for the listing with the large logo, that one.
Yep, this one. And where it says school next to it. You can go in here and you'll see, yes, all of our employees, but the best part is if you click the alumni. And you can go through and you see we have 7,500 alumni right now connected on our LinkedIn page. So these are all people that are safe to go out and talk with, whether that's through an information interview or even just a quick email exchange. So you can go through here and see just everybody, again, who has attended the university, or even organize it by companies or industries and get connected with them. So like, let's say you are interested in, let's just pick civil engineering. Let's see if that pulls up anything. And look at that.
600 of them.
600 of them have civil engineering on their profile somewhere. So you can go through and say, okay, great. Charlie looks like a good person to reach out to. And that could be something that somebody you could reach out to for with a couple of questions for an information interview. That's very easy to find as well. If you just go to the main SMU page, current students, and you just scroll down to careers and our career fairs and other events. So first, while I'm here, let's first show this. All of the employer interviews that Karina and I did, Karina, our Career Center intern, because of the final 2 career fairs this spring had to be canceled, we ended up interviewing a lot of employers. So here's our list of them that have been done so far. There's going to be a couple more added, and we're also going to have information sheets with all of their contact information, but they are all talking about the opportunities that they have available at their organizations right now that they're hiring for. But even better is you can go through and find the program. So students who are interested in working with companies that recruit for like nonprofits or recruiting for communication students, psychology, all of that would be a good example to go in and look at our CAS program. And look at that. There's the name of the recruiter and their email in there. So it's a really easy way to get connected with them.
In an information interview, while you are a student or a recent grad, it's a magic window that you have, that this is the perfect time to ask for advice, ask for things that you would never learn in a regular interview. So what you're looking for is this place a good fit for me? What kind of advice can they give me about? And so instead of thinking, oh, I'm going into an interview and I have to say the right things, that's another conversation about job interviews. But information interviews, think of yourself as a reporter, essentially, where you want to ask maybe 3, 4, 5 open-ended questions and let them tell you their story. And everybody has a story about how they got their first job, how they landed in this place, what do they like about working there, what do they don't like. Well, anyway, I can go through all the questions, but Alyssa, let's just pull up that resource on the screen and we can go through it a little bit.
Definitely. So all you have to do to find that is you go to the main SMU page. And what I have found is the easiest is to just go into the search bar. You can see I've done it 100 times and just look at information interview. So once you go in here, you'll just click the first link of tips for informational interviewing, and we have all the questions you can ask. So if you're interested on more career path information, you can go in here and ask about the positions that they had that led them to the one that they're currently in, or the best job in this field for career advancement. I mean, you can go through all of these different categories and ask them. I know for a lot of the students that I work with, it's kind of scary to think of doing that initial reach out to a student, or I'm sorry, to a contact, because you're thinking, well, what am I supposed to ask in that email? There's a really simple, I guess, outline that you would follow of, here's how I received your contact information, and I'm just asking for 15 minutes of your time to talk about what it is you do in your field and to ask advice on what the student can do to, I guess, replicate that path or to find out more information on opportunities for growth. And we have these outlines that we're happy to send students. So if that's something you want, just reach out to Ann or I, and we can send that to you, and we can help formulate that email that you can send that to that contact. And again, you're only asking for 15 minutes of their time, whether that is through a phone call, a Zoom call, or even if you just want to send them a few email through questions through email, that's appropriate as well. And it's a very short email. This is not a big narrative that you're writing. It really is just asking for a little bit of their time as maybe a fellow SMU student, if this is an alum, or a recruiter who is close to the university and has recruited our students before.
I think that point is really important about we're only asking for a few minutes of their time. If you take a look at the list of questions that we have compiled, there's over 100. Oh, for heaven's sakes, we don't want you to ask that many questions and put yourself, commit yourself to that much time. It really should be a short conversation, or as Alyssa said, can be done couple of back and forth by email. But here is the most important thing about information interviewing is the last question you ask is, who else would you recommend that I talk to? Because that's how you build a network. You ask for advice, You find out somebody else. Who else would you recommend I talk to? Because during the course of the conversation, you're probably going to narrow down some interests that you have. And then you get that person, and then you contact them to do an information interview, and you've got a great referral. You can always use St. Martin's Career Center as a referral, as a starting point of a conversation. But after that, then you'll be getting more people in your network, and you can ask about them.
Talk about just finding opportunities through Handshake, because Handshake does have a lot of opportunities. So the best way to do that is just obviously log into your Handshake account. It's just stmartin.joinhandshake.com. You can find it linked at 100 different links all on the SMU website. But once you're in here, you'll just go into jobs. And it's very easy. Internship. And look at that. We have over 300 that are posted right now. If you want to narrow it down by different locations or different fields, you can use this in the search engine. But I also recommend just kind of taking a look at what is posted. Please be aware though that yes, a lot of these are outside of Washington, but we tried to make sure that the only internships that we were approving from organizations that are outside of our direct area are ones that are for summer. So these are places that, or these are opportunities that are happening normally over the summer if they're out of state. So you can go in here and you can type in Olympia, Washington. And let's see, we have 50 that are posted for internships in Washington. These are in a lot of different industries. So all you have to do is you'll just click one. So let's say, okay, this is a remote one right here. Great opportunity. You're probably going to be seeing a lot of remote internship opportunities for the summer, given everything that's going on. But you can go in and you'll just see here's the description of it. There might be some links for a paper application that they want you to fill out. But then you could just go in and read through it, and then you'll click apply. The apply button will either direct you to an external job posting system where you'll apply through that, or it will ask for your resume and cover letter. So for something like this one, let's look. They have a PDF that they're probably going to have you fill out, and they want you to upload a resume. So you'll just go in and do that, and then you will have applied for that opportunity. And you can do that for all of them that are on Handshake. So again, a lot of opportunities. We're approving them all day.
So one of the things I bet everybody noticed when she pulled up that example is that it's unpaid.
Yes.
So don't just skip over those, I would say. A lot of times when you have an unpaid internship, they're going to limit how many hours they are going to ask you to work. Especially if it's remote, you're going to probably be project-based, and you're thinking, well, it's an unpaid internship and it's great experience, but I need money. Well, if you're doing an unpaid internship, make sure it's for a minimum number of hours that you can afford, and then get a job at something that does pay, maybe not related to your field, but we all have to pay the bills, so do that. But I think a lot of times these unpaid internships go begging because maybe they're only 5-10 hours a week or less, and they give you great experience. It could be that piece of experience and the connections you'll make in that opportunity that gets you to the next step.
Mm-hmm. And I would also say not to be afraid to talk to them that yes, it's unpaid, but are there options for stipends as well? I've been working with a lot of employers and they didn't realize that was an option, that instead of just doing an hourly pay, they could pay one lump sum stipend. That might be more in their budget than a per hour payment. So that's something that you can bring up to them at the time of an offer, I would say, or at the time of where you're starting to talk about it.
Now, if we're thinking about, okay, I read through all those internships that you just showed me on Handshake and I found nothing. There wasn't anything in there that I'm interested in. So when you are pretty specific about what you're looking for and you can't find it there, you found it and it's in another part of the country, or it just doesn't, nothing clicks. That's when you want to do a little bit more research. And again, this is what Alyssa and I are here for. I think one of the most valuable things we have to offer as a career center are our connections in the community. And we have spent years building those relationships. So if you are interested in, I want to do, I don't know, one recent one we worked with was video production.
Mhm.
There's a lot of small businesses that do this kind of work that would love to have a student come in and help them. We had another intern recently, and many of you could do this, a nonprofit that wanted them to run their social media campaigns, that kind of thing. All work that can be done remotely. But do use us as a resource, because if you're looking for something specific, you're out there shopping for it and it isn't there, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist or that it can't exist or be created. It just is a couple of extra steps by start talking to people, doing information interviews, and asking for referrals from those information interviews.
A lot of the times an internship is created because of that information interview. The employer might tell you about some of the projects that they're trying to work on and get done, and you realize through that conversation you have some of the skills that they're looking for. Usually after something like that, that's when some sort of internship can be created. And if you need help with the language around how to get one of those created, again, Ann and I are good resources for that.
Many times employers, and they've told us this, sure, we have lots of work that needs to be done. We have projects. We'd just like to hear from a student and learn what they would like to get out of it. Well, that puts a kind of heavy lift on the student to reach out, and it's almost like going door to door and saying, well, what have you got? So we do try to make it easier by making those introductions for you. If you really want to talk to somebody at the Department of Ecology, for example, because they would have internships in many different areas, let us help with that. We can make an email introduction, and then you could take it from there. Work is out there needing to be done. It may not be done in a traditional way that we're used to doing it by, and you may not have the experience of working in an environment with lots of coworkers that we look forward to doing outside of, you know, many of us have been now isolated for a couple of weeks, and you're thinking, oh, is this the world of work? Well, it may be over the summer. And, but there's certainly lots of, with the technology that Alyssa and I are using right now, you will be able to make a lot of face-to-face connections. And then when things get more back to normal, well, we'll ramp up those other opportunities. But don't get discouraged that you don't find something that you don't want, but please do use us as resources for getting your needs met and meeting your goals.